Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on this other episode of Connecting. And I have a dear friend and collaborator, Randolph Belle. Let me provide a little bit of context for welcoming Randolph on. We kind of know each other from many different ways, just being in Oakland all this time. But in particular, both of our kids go to Yu Ming Charter School. What that is it's the first Mandarin-immersion public charter school, elementary all the way to middle school. It's located here in Oakland, and we were some of the first families to send our kids there. Now, for all of you who know, this is API Heritage Month. It would seem natural for a family like ours, especially because my wife Celia speaks Mandarin herself, that we would choose a school like this. But Randolph, how's it been being one of a handful of African-American families at Yu Ming?
It's actually been a really incredible experience for us. We were in the first class. We were in the very first kindergarten class. So our older daughter was the very first, she was in the first class to go all 9 years. And we selected Yu Ming really because it was going to provide an opportunity that was not able in any other setting, right? So it was, okay. So it was not, that we wanted to do a language immersion. And we could have done Spanish because it's, very accessible, and there are a number of different Spanish immersion charters. But, we were encouraged to select Yu Ming because it was not common, and if you don't get in, you're not going to get in. My wife is not Chinese, as I am often asked, because people like when you say, yeah, my kids, they're in a Mandarin-immersion school, they're like, what? And the next question is why?
Yeah.
And so we really thought that it was going to, for all the reasons that language immersion is beneficial to learning. We just thought it would be, kind of beneficial to our first child. And then, 6 years later, we have another one that she's there now. So she's in the 4th grade now, and the other one is a sophomore in high school in San Francisco, which she probably would not have gotten in had it not been for the incredible education that she got at Yu Ming. So she's in her 2nd year. She's entering an IB program, an international baccalaureate program. She's still studying Chinese and just doing incredibly well. So that's really why we were drawn to Yu Ming.
Well, that's amazing. And just for everyone out there, we do have many non-Asian families, a lot of Black families, Latino families, white families. And I just remember, and maybe you could join me with this, Randolph, when Yu Ming as a culture loves to do assemblies, right? Where they're asking the kids to perform different songs or play music. And I just remember, because I don't speak Mandarin myself, I just remember the sensation of sitting in the back and watching my children, kind of like recite a poem or sing a song, not understanding one word, and yet being so happy and proud. I think I've sat in the back with you with that same sensation, right?
Correct. Well, and you can imagine for us, and we also belong to an organization that was started at the same time of the school. Mm-hmm. So 11 years ago or so, and that it's called Parents of African American Students Studying Chinese.
There you go.
Right. Very, very specific, but it's really to support the children, just to understand that there are others like them, around the Bay Area primarily, but also to support the parents, right, who may not be African American, right? We had some adopted families and that sort of thing, but how do you support your child? How do you support your Black child in a Mandarin immersion program? And then we would also do programs for the administrations. And so you've got, in some instances, you've got one Black kid. How do you not create an environment where they are not able to thrive? And so we would do those things, and we would do play dates. And so, at some point, we'd have 20 Black kids all speaking Mandarin. And it was like,
amazing.
It was like a movie, with the sound dubbed over it, right? It just didn't make any sense between what you were seeing and what you were hearing. It was bonkers. It just didn't make any sense. So that has been just a really incredible experience. And just, I did more, but I used to do all of the kind of the orientations and, the tours, and just, I was amazed every time I went in the class just to see how, the kids were progressing in their Mandarin.
Yeah. Well, I will join you, Randolph, to eagerly await over the next 5, 10, 20 years to see how these young African-American men and women grow up, use the language and culture skills they've learned to absolutely change the world. Amen.
Oh, hey. Amen.
Amen.
Somebody got to take care of me when I'm old. You know what I mean? That's the plan.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Well, Randolph, we're here also to talk about a really amazing project that you played a central role to really bless, educate, inspire, but also challenge the people of Oakland. An installation that now can be seen at Frank Ogawa Plaza, also known locally as Oscar Grant Plaza.
Correct.
Tell us about that, Randolph.
So I've got a few different capacities. I've got this space that we're in right now, which is called RBA, which is a co-working space that I run with my wife. My wife manages it.
Just down the street from the church.
It is on MacArthur. Yeah. Just, a mere few blocks away. And so, but I also have a nonprofit called Support Oakland Artists. And in my capacity as RBA, which also does consulting, I was working on a project, a bid for a contract here in Oakland with the Smith Group architecture firm. And while we didn't get the bid, one of the principals, one of the vice presidents, excuse me, that runs their equity practice, she told me about this project that four African-American architects from their DC office created in the wake of the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor murders. It's called Society's Cage. And when I saw it and, kind of really understood what it was about, it was automatic for me. I was like, we got to get it to Oakland because it was, kind of framed around those murders, but also around white supremacy and also around the pillars of state-sponsored institutional racialized violence against, the Black community, those being death by cop, death by lynching, capital punishment, and mass incarceration, right?
This is an installation that you just don't look at, you can actually interact with it, right?
You can interact with it. And like, once you understand what those kind of metrics and the data, it's a data or graphic driven piece crafted from just about 500 weathered steel rods of varying lengths. And 1 in 5 of the 500 of the rods reach the ground. That correlates to the 1 in 5 African Americans that will experience mass incarceration. Also, the 4 facades, they represent those pillars, but they are also parametrically convene in the middle. And so what the designers say, that it really represents the shape and the weight of racism, which is a very, very deep thought. You can walk around the piece and you see different data points. And then there are also stories, historical stories of, racialized violence. There are about 10,000 names, that create a texture along with quotes from, civil rights leaders. And then there are also about 50 lights, you know, for all the 50 states.
Mm.
And last piece is it's an immersive experience in that it's got an 8-minute and 46-second soundscape, which represents the, you know, obviously the 8-minute and 46 seconds that George Floyd was, you know, under the knee of Derek Chauvin. And so that's kind of the piece. And on the 29th, we will have a closing ceremony with the designers here. They're flying out, and performances in and around the piece. So that's the May 29th at 7 p.m. because it's a lit piece. And it's just a different experience at night. So we're really looking forward to that.
Wow. Randolph, to hear you describe it, it sounds amazing. I've actually seen it myself at the Solidarity rally last week, but really none of that pictures, descriptions don't do it justice. You really have to see it in person, go inside it, and the soundscape and the lights just sound amazing. So it's going to be this Sunday, 7 o'clock. How long is the closing ceremony for?
Oh, it's 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And, you know, the last part, we'll just kind of be mingling and you'll be able to meet the designers. And then we start breaking it down. It's been up for about a month. And so we start breaking it down the next day, and then it's going to, you know, pack it up, and it's going on a flatbed back to Oklahoma, because it was in Oklahoma before, but then it's going to New Orleans for the next activation.
Wow. Well, Randolph, congratulations on
thank you so much.
Piece of art that I believe captures the essence of the Oakland community. We want to be artistic, but we also want to inspire and offer a message of who we are and what we believe. And so to everyone at Oakland City Church, I really invite you to join me and my wife, Celia, and so many others to go out there to experience this exhibition called Society's Cage. And again, to kind of take in everything that it's communicating. And I do, since it's API Heritage Month, I do want to have a special call to those of us who are of API descent. This is a month that's celebrating us. But as a community, we've committed to solidarity with all people of color, Black and brown. And this is an opportunity to stand in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters through art. And what an amazing way to do so. So Randolph, thank you for joining us. We'll see you on Sunday, Randolph. Bye-bye now.
Thanks.